Cryptocurrency market review. This week, the cryptocurrency market corrected downwards. Currently, Bitcoin is trading at 9,100.00, 1.3%, Ethereum is at 231.00, 2.5%, Tether is at 1.0010, plus 0.07%, Ripple is trading at 0.1900, 3.6%, and Bitcoin Cash around 222.00, 5.7%. The total market capitalization decreased from $274 billion to $269 billion. Bitcoin's market share ranged within 6,262.5%. The cryptocurrency community was focused on the hacking a significant number of Twitter accounts of representatives of business and cryptocurrency companies, including Justin Sun, Changpeng Zhao, Elon Musk, Michael Bloomberg, accounts of Binance, Coinbase, Gemini, and others exchanges. The scammers who gained access to them tried to collect Bitcoin from subscribers, but they managed to get only 14.75 BTC, about $136,000, which does not correspond to the scale of the hacker attack. Among experts, there is an opinion that theft of cryptocurrency was just a cover, especially since wallet transactions used by attackers can be tracked. The real reason for the hack could be getting information about account owners. From the news of the cryptocurrency community, it is necessary to highlight the discussion of the developers of the Ethereum 2.0 network about the timing of its launch, which many market participants are looking forward to. So, Justin Drake, who is responsible for commissioning the new system, said that the start may not take place before the end of this year since it will take at least 3 months to verify the stability of the system and search for vulnerabilities. Network co-founder Vitalik Buterin did not agree with Drake, noting that the zero phase of Ethereum 2.0 should be launched as early as possible, regardless of its degree of readiness. The constant postponement of the launch of the new network does not yet affect the activity of investors, and ETH continues to remain popular with them. So, since the beginning of the year, the growth of active ETH addresses amounted to 145%, and for BTC only 13%. Bitcoin still leads in the total number of addresses, but the gap with its closest competitors is narrowing. This week, the BTC Historical Volatility Index fell below 40 points. Experts believe that the price of the first cryptocurrency is consolidating before a serious leap, but its direction is unknown. From the news of state assets, it is worth highlighting the intention of the Japanese authorities to include the creation of a digital yen in the plan for the country's economic recovery after the coronavirus pandemic. The new currency will be used not only as a means of payment but will also become the basis for creating a new financial infrastructure. Former chairman of the China Securities Regulatory Commission, Xiao Gang, noted that the creation of state digital currencies will be followed by the launch of digital securities. In China, the digital renminbi is being actively tested. Currently, the authorities are actively checking the possibility of using cryptocurrency in the real consumer sector, for which companies directly working with the population were involved, in particular, one of the largest Meituan Dianping food delivery services. Probably, testing the digital renminbi will soon be extended to the entire country. Next week, quotes for most cryptocurrencies may move to consolidation or resume the upward movement. Could Bitcoin price bounce higher? The price of Bitcoin has massively corrected in the past few days. However, Bitcoin is about to receive significant support where Bitcoin could bounce off. Bitcoin price prediction monthly chart looks bullish. When looking at the monthly chart, the options for the Bitcoin price are pretty simple. Either Bitcoin breaks the golden ratio at the $10,000 mark, or the Bitcoin price is rejected at the golden ratio at the $10,000 mark. If the $10,000 mark is bullishly broken, Bitcoin could reach its next golden ratio, at the last significant high at $13,800. In the bear scenario, Bitcoin could reach as low as $6,200, where the next golden ratio is located at. The current monthly candle, which is only a few days away from closing, seems to be directly between the resistance at the $10,000 mark and the horizontal support level at $8,600. Slightly below, at around $7,800, Bitcoin finds another significant support level. Thus, Bitcoin could find early support at one of those levels to avoid reaching as low as $6,200. Furthermore, the RSI gives no bullish or bearish signals. In contrast, the MACD is giving bullish signals. First and foremost, the histogram is ticking bullishly higher. Secondly, the MACD lines are about to cross bullishly. Both indicate a continuation of the upward trend in the mid to long term. Bitcoin price prediction weekly chart leans towards supports. However, when looking at the weekly chart, it should be evident that Bitcoin is about to reach the $8,600 support level again. Not only the MACD's histogram is ticking bearishly lower, but Bitcoin topped at the golden ratio at the $10,000 mark and was bearishly rejected at this resistance. For now, it seems unlikely that Bitcoin will bring enough volume to break this significant resistance. Thus, the weekly chart leans towards bearishness. Bitcoin price prediction trendline bearishly broken. The daily chart is especially bearish. Since the Golden Cross has happened in May, the Bitcoin price could not surpass the resistance. Since the beginning of June, Bitcoin has formed a series of lower highs. However, not only that but Bitcoin also broke the trendline of the symmetrical triangle bearishly. It seems likely that Bitcoin is reaching as low as $8,600, where the 200-day EMA acts as additional support. If this level is bearishly broken, Bitcoin could fall to the 0.382 fib levels between 7,500 and 7,800. Once Bitcoin's price has found support, Bitcoin should be able to retest the $10,000 mark at the golden ratio resistance. Once Bitcoin can break this level, which should happen within this year, since the monthly chart is bullish, Bitcoin could surge to the $13,800 mark. Bitcoin price prediction death cross in the 4-hour chart. Nevertheless, for the short term, one should cautiously pay attention to the 4-hour signal. A death cross appeared here, which typically indicates a continuation of the correction wave towards the downside. Thus, one should prepare for reaching as low as $8,600 before looking at bullish prospects for the Bitcoin's price again. Apart from Bitcoin, new emerging blockchain projects are also making headlines as innovative game changers. E.g., SAT or Smart Advertising Transaction Token, a blockchain-based solution that seeks to transform the advertising landscape for both consumers and advertisers, is joining the race. The dApp-SAT allows anyone to become an influencer and be rewarded in cryptocurrency for their posts on social networks while solving issues in the advertising market such as fraud, speed of transactions, and decentralization. Moreover, the project is supported by a team of recognized Facebook developers from the Atayan Inc. company. The best blockchain marketing agency of the moment, MarkChain, and supported by several large investors and reputable investment funds such as Richard Wong or Kima Venture with the famous French entrepreneur Xavier Niel. The altcoins trying to challenge Bitcoin again. The crypto market is showing a moderate decline, heading into the end of the week, which has the potential for intensifying. Bitcoin's sideways price action remains in place, which is both good and bad news. A decrease in trading volumes to $15 billion indicates that the current levels are not interesting for most players to buy or sell, but still holds the price above $9,000. On the other hand, a long lull almost always ends in a surge of volatility. A high correlation between Bitcoin and the stock market is on everyone's lips. The traditional market was in the red on Thursday morning and risks pulling down the crypto market as well. Although Bitcoin has been trading around the lower bound of $9,000 for a long time, this does not mean that there are no changes in other digital currencies. In particular, it is worth paying attention to stable cryptocurrencies that are seeing a steady increase in demand. Coinmetrics data shows that the volume of transmitted value via stablecoins exceeded $2 BLN in June, while the same indicator for Bitcoin fell below $1.80 BLN. Growing demand for stablecoins is a logical response of the market due to the need for cheap and fast transfers across country borders. FTX's low capitalization altcoins index has shown 144% growth since the beginning of 2020, twice as much as Bitcoin. Demand for small coins demonstrates that crypto market participants still hope to find the next unicorn. Probably, this demand has retail roots, as institutional interest is concentrated on the most liquid instruments. Among altcoins, Ethereum should be singled out, after showing more than a two-fold increase in the number of active wallets since the beginning of the year, several times more than Bitcoin. In this case, this growth may be influenced by DeFi, decentralized financial applications, as well as the work of other altcoins, including stablecoins, based on the Ethereum platform. Since the beginning of the year, the ETH price has increased by 79%, which also reflects market participants' confidence in the platform's ecosystem. From all this, we can conclude that there are many projects trying to challenge Bitcoin. However, the world's biggest cryptocurrency by market cap has coped with such challenges more than once, often remaining in the saddle. Recently, crypto miners were supposed to massively shut down their ASICs after halving. However, in mid-July 2020, Bitcoin is still keeping an eye on $10,000, miners are increasing their production capacity, and the nearest Bitcoin competitor needs to attract more than $140 billion in market cap to pose a serious threat. ZAO, USD gold prices show ambiguous trading during today's morning session, having shown a moderate decline in trading yesterday. The instrument is trying to consolidate below the key level of 1,800.00 again, however, the demand for gold remains quite high. The instrument is supported by an uncertain market situation related to the aggravation of geopolitical risks and the further worsening of the epidemiological situation in the world. The United States and China again exchange mutual sanctions, and this threatens with crossing out all the progress made earlier in the framework of the trade agreement. While global regulators are taking a wait-and-see attitude, new measures to support the economy today seem quite reasonable, which also increases the attractiveness of gold among investors. Key releases: United States of America USD is strengthening against GBP but weakening against JPY and EUR. American investors are focused on remains the situation with coronavirus in the United States. Yesterday, a daily incidence record was set. The number of infected reached 77,000 people, and their total number reached 3.7% million. The growing epidemic scares investors more and more, as they expect restoration of social distance measures and, above all, the closing of stores. There is no consensus among the authorities of the American states. Thus, Texas Governor Greg Abbott said that a new economic restriction would not happen, and New York Governor Andrew Cuomo noted that he could close restaurants if citizens did not comply with restrictive rules. The U.S. Senate is developing a new package of assistance to the U.S. economy. According to Speaker of the House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi, he will cost $1.3 trillion, but even this amount is not enough to successfully combat the epidemic. Eurozone EUR is strengthening against its main competitors GBP, JPY, and USD. Friday's EU inflation data met market expectations. CPI rose from 0.1% to 0.3% YoY and from 0.1% to 0.3% MOM. Today, the main European event is the meeting of the Eurozone leaders in Brussels. A package of assistance to the European economy worth €750 billion is expected to be agreed upon. Currently, there are several controversial issues that have yet to be resolved. So, it is assumed that in order to receive support funds, the European region will have to provide an investment plan for approval by all 27 Eurozone members. The Netherlands insists that approval should be unanimous, which Germany opposes. The issue of covering European debts also remains open. To do this, it is planned to introduce new taxes on carbon emissions and collection from plastic waste, as well as establish a digital duty. Observers note that if all issues cannot be resolved by Monday, then the Eurozone leadership will return to the package of assistance to the economy only at the end of July. United Kingdom GBP is weakening today against its main competitors EUR, JPY, and USD. Investors are focused on the comments of British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who said that the government has a plan to return the country to normal life by Christmas, so social restrictions will be further eased in the near future. In particular, citizens will be allowed to use public transport, and enterprises will have more opportunities to return employees to jobs. At the same time, Johnson noted that the situation will be kept under control in order to prevent a new outbreak of incidents due to the removal of restrictions too quickly. Japan JPY is weakening against EUR today but is strengthening against USD and GBP. Due to a lack of significant economic releases, JPY is generally trading under the influence of technical factors. Investors are expecting Monday when the June data on Japanese foreign trade come out. It is expected that the volume of exports and imports of Japanese goods will drop sharply by 24.9% and 16.8%, respectively. The decline will be the result of a fall in global demand for cars and durables due to the coronavirus pandemic. The forecast may put pressure on JPY. Australia AUD is weakening against EUR, is strengthening against GBP, and has ambiguous dynamics against JPY and USD. Due to a lack of significant economic releases, AUD is trading under the influence of technical factors. Investors continue to monitor the second wave of the coronavirus epidemic, which is gaining momentum in Victoria. The daily number of cases in the country also continues to grow and significantly exceeded 400 people yesterday. Market participants fear that getting the epidemic out of control and spreading it to other states of the country may slow down Australia's economic recovery. Oil prices today have ambiguous dynamics. Morning decline was replaced by the growth and restoration of previously lost positions. The pressure on oil prices is exerted by an increase in the incidence of coronavirus in the United States and the threat of a decrease in energy demand. In the evening, the publication of the Baker Hughes report on active oil platforms in the United States of America is expected. Previously, the number reduced from 185 to 181 units. Continuation of this trend may support oil quotes. However, some experts believe that the number of active rigs may resume growth, as world prices are close to the levels that make the extraction of American shale oil profitable. The U.S. shatters its record for daily new cases of COVID-19. Netflix, Nasdaq, NFLX, stock slumps after warning of a sharp slowdown in subscriber growth in the second half of the year. China's stock bubble is quickly deflating while the U.S. is dreaming up ever more ways to punish it. And the euro hits a 4-month high as EU leaders meet to discuss their big recovery fund plan. Here's what you need to know in financial markets on Friday, July 17. 1. New record for virus cases. The U.S. shattered its record for the number of new infections of COVID-19, with 77,300 recorded on Thursday. That took the total number of infections above 3.5 million in the U.S. COVID-19 related deaths rose to an estimated 924, their highest since early June. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said, however, that there is no shutdown coming. Further afield, the number of cases in Brazil passed 2 million, while India's topped 1 million. Both figures are likely underreported due to less than comprehensive testing in those countries. 2. The froth comes off Chinese stocks. The bubble in Chinese stocks could be over already. Chinese markets stabilized on Friday, but the main indices all ended the week with losses of between 4% and 5%. The move follows a change in signaling by state-owned media and banks this week that quickly reversed some of the more exuberant buying seen in previous weeks by retail investors. The news comes against the backdrop of more negative briefing by U.S. officials with regard to China. The Wall Street Journal reported on Thursday that administration officials are discussing banning travel by China's Communist Party members and their families to the U.S., while other reports this week have mooted a ban on short-form video service TikTok over data integrity concerns. 3. Stocks set to open higher. Michigan consumer sentiment. U.S. stocks are set to open mostly higher to end the week on bargain hunting after weak labor market data on Thursday knocked the main indices down by over 0.5%. By 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 GMT. The Dow futures contract was up 78 points or 0.3%. While the S&P 500 futures contract was up 0.4%, and the Nasdaq 100 futures contract was up 1.0%. A relatively light day for earnings is set to be dominated by asset manager BlackRock, NYSE, Block, which reported a 22% gain in per-share earnings for the second quarter. Somewhat better than expected. The data calendar highlight is Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 1400 GMT, along with June data for housing starts and building permits, both at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. 4. Euro hits 4-month high as EU leaders meet. European Union leaders are meeting in person for the first time since the pandemic erupted to discuss the bloc's plans for a €750 billion recovery fund that would mark the biggest step yet toward a centralized fiscal policy and explicit transfers from richer countries to poorer ones. The Brussels summit is unlikely to reach a formal agreement on the European Commission's plan, despite strong backing from Germany and France, traditionally the most influential members of the bloc. Resistance to a proposal for up to €500 billion in fiscal transfers is being led by Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, who said on his arrival at the summit that he sees the chance of a deal today at less than 50%. The euro nonetheless advanced to its highest in over 4 months before retracing slightly to trade at $1.1413, up 0.3% on the day. 5. Netflix stock slumps after growth warning. Netflix Nasdaq, NFLX stock is set for a rocky ride after the company warned of a sharp slowdown in subscriber growth over the rest of the year. The world's biggest streaming company added another 10 million subscribers in the second quarter, living up to expectations that it would be one of the biggest beneficiaries of lockdowns across the globe. However, it expects only 2.5 million new users in the third quarter, half of what Wall Street had been hoping for. At the same time, it also raised Ted Sarandos, the head of its Hollywood operations, to be co-chief executive alongside Reed Hastings. Netflix stock was quoted down 7.5% in pre-market trade, paring losses of over 15% at one point in after-hours trade on Thursday.